So, hello guys, my name is Kalle from Kalle Rock, and I'm sitting here with Andy Sneap from Hell at the Huxley's tonight. You play in front of Accept. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Yeah, we're looking forward to tonight. Actually, the whole tour's been really good. Good attendances. Really, we didn't know quite how we go down on this because we're obviously a little bit different to Accept, but it's gone really well.
Oh. Is it the last day of the tour?
This is, yeah. They're going on to, I think they've got a show in the Czech Republic, then Poland, then Russia. But we're playing the Masters of Rock festival in a month or so, so it didn't make sense to do the dates. So we've just, we're going home tomorrow morning from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been on tour, and today, last day. Is there something special planned tonight because it's the last day of the tour?
No, I mean we've got a 7 o'clock flight tomorrow morning, so it's going to be a rough one. Okay. Yeah.
So that's some special thing from the crew or something like that.
No,
okay.
No, we've been warned off that.
Andy, you've been in the music so long. You do many things like you mix music, you create music, you're a legend in the metal. But how does it start? In the music business for you, because I mean, what was your first experience with the metal music?
Well, the first ever experience was my brother buying me a Status Quo single for my 12th Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. Why he bought me that, I don't know, but it put me on the on this road. But yeah, I mean, I just got into sort of, I know, Maiden, AC/DC, Priest, when I was in my teens, and I actually first saw Hell when I was 12 years old. I was having guitar lessons off the original singer, Dave Halliday.
Wow.
So yeah, that was when I was knee high to a grasshopper. So yeah, that was my first early experience, and obviously I put Sabbath together. I was 15 when I put Sabbath together, and we did our first album when I was 18. So.
That was your first band?
Yeah. We obviously we did that out in Hanover. We did History of a Time to Come for Noise back then, and I've sort of ducked and dived and weaved in and out of the industry since, as a producer and as a musician. So it's funny, you come back on tour. I mean, I played these places back in 88, 89, and now I'm doing, yeah. So,
I was 2 years old in this time.
I wasn't. But I'm still the young guy in the band, so that's good, yeah.
How old are the others?
I think Dave's 46, 47, and the other guys are sort of 50 through to 53, so, yeah.
Legends in the music, I would say.
Spring chickens, yeah.
But, what was your first concert you ever played? Could you remember which location, and what was the feeling to be on stage for the fans?
That I ever played, it was actually at a college in Nottingham, and there wasn't many people there, so there wasn't much of a vibe. Yeah, I mean, we sort of did sort of little club gigs around Nottingham to start off with in the UK, and we just sort of picked it up, and then we got on. When we signed the record deal, we started doing bigger shows and. We actually, the first time we came out to Europe, strangely enough, was to support Udo. We did 2 shows on the Udo, I think it was the Animal House album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did 2 shows on that tour, then we got kicked off. So we've lasted longer on this tour. We've done better. Oh. Yeah.
I mean, how long exists Hell? It was 82
they formed, yeah, and then they split up in 80, I think it was 87 they split up. Yeah, so they'd obviously written all that material back then, which we've used on the first album, and we've been together in this form probably since sort of 2007. Me and Kev got back together again, so we've been throwing it around a little bit.
Last year was your year, because you come back and everybody say, "Yeah, fantastic Hell," and I said that. Who is Hell? What the hell is Hell?
Yeah, who the hell is Hell?
Yeah, who the hell is Hell? And I said there, okay, and I listen to the music. I say, why I don't know the band? And then I say, oh, you come together with Accept on tour, and I say, hey, I must meet them because you got so many experience with the music. So you play in front of Udo, you play in front of Accept now. What other bands you meet?
Well, we toured at Manowar back in the day. That was an interesting one. So that was a good tour for us. I mean, that was sort of, I don't know, 5,000 to 12,000 a night on those Metal Fest meetings that we did with them back in '89. But I mean, I've met so many people in the industry now. I mean, obviously working with the bands I've worked with, I could bore you to death with it, But everyone's cool, I mean, God, where do you want me to start? I know most of them, I'd say.
So you produce albums for some bands. Could you tell the users and the fans what bands you meet and produce some albums for or written songs?
God, I mean, obviously there's Accept, Testament, Exodus, Megadeth. Mixed the likes of Kill Switch. Machine Head was one of the early ones I did out in America with Colin. I don't know. I mean, I've done over 100 albums now, so there's probably one in your collection I've done somewhere down the line.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. And what is the difference between to be a musician on stage and to be behind the music bands? When I was doing the band thing originally, I was always more focused on the studio side of things. I actually liked the creativity in the studio and sort of putting the big picture together, which is why I kind of fell into the sort of the job as a producer, really. But the more I've done it, and the more I've been stuck in the studio for year after year after year, the chance to get back out on stage and just get out and have a bit of fun and play live. You always get a buzz out of it, especially if it's good sized gigs like this and decent crowds. It's that you can't. There's no drug on the face of the planet that'll replace that sort of adrenaline rush. So I mean, I've got the best of both worlds, really. I've got a good career as a producer, but it's nice that I've got a band now that I'm sort of properly involved in, that we all get on, that is focused on doing something fresh. So yeah. So what can the fans expect from the show, from Hell?
A lot of theatrics. You'll see. It's quite a bizarre show actually with Dave. As the frontman, he's quite a twisted character on stage. So it's not your straight ahead metal sort of vibe. It's got a little bit of a more theatrical play-like element to it.
Okay. So what does it mean in the name Hell to the music of Hell?
I mean, obviously, I didn't have any sort of decision in the choice of name. It was all sort of put together before I was involved. But I think they just wanted something that was direct, and back in the day, something that sparked a bit of attention and gave a sort of a darker approach to the music, which is what they were doing back then.
Or is it because why the fans say, or the press and they all say, yeah, metal is something had to do with hell? Could it be?
I don't know. I think it was more that so they could get a sort of a fixed image for the band, and if you see the name Hell, directly what sort of music it's going to be. It's a very direct and immediate approach. One word sort of name. It's a good looking logo, and they wanted it to be sort of direct and to the point. So that's pretty much their thinking behind it, I think.
And what would you say? How developed the music from the first album till now? In the case of the
original,
yeah.
I mean, we looked at some of the arrangements and sort of slimmed it down a little bit, but we sort of refined it a little bit. We tried to keep it true to the original sort of vibe of it.
And what would you say? How developed the music business from the last years? From the 18s till now.
Sorry?
The music business. How developed the music business? How does it change?
It's a lot easier for fans to get access to the bands now, and I think it's a lot easier for bands to sort of give themselves hype now. When you look at the way the band back in the day was struggling to even get a London gig, or the amount of press that you couldn't generate back then, where now I think labels are relying on bands to do more of their own promotion. There's obviously things like Facebook, just the internet in general. is at such, you know, you've got so many mediums on that to promote yourself, and even things like, you know, organising tours. I mean, you know, back when Sabbath was going, just even trying to get the band out to Europe was an absolute nightmare. Where now you've got things like, you know, you've got cheap flights to get out here. You've got festivals every other weekend now to promote a band. You know, so it works out, you know, a lot easier for bands now than what it was back then.
But is it not more difficult because it's too much bands?
Well, I totally agree. I think it's. I think metal and I think the music business needs to kind of reinvent itself a little bit, because there needs to be a bit of a cull of the crap that's out there. Yeah. There certainly is a lot, and it's very easy for bands just to put their own stuff out now as well. But I do think the way the record sales are going, that it will eventually come full circle, and sort of a record deal will be sort of hopefully be a sign of quality again, like it was in the sort of 70s and 80s. You know, if you had a deal back then, it actually meant someone was investing time and money into you, which labels don't seem to do now. It's more about the fast buck now rather than trying to develop bands.
And more shows, gigs and festivals than ever. Yeah. What would you say? Is it better for a newcomer band, to start with a management, or is it better to learn their own?
I think learn their own, really. I mean, everyone's got to sort of find the feet. I mean, obviously, if there's management that is going to offer, you know, good management that's going to offer guidance to a band, it's worth doing. But, you know, I mean, I've made all the mistakes that you ever could in sort of the music industry, and, you know, yeah, you sort of learn by your mistakes, really. Yeah.
Do you help some bands at the moment?
What, management-wise, you mean, or
producing or managing, or?
I don't. You know, obviously, I don't do anything on a financial level to help bands that way. But you know, if any young bands that I know ask me advice, I'll try and steer them in the right direction. Definitely, yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to a band? How could they create a good image for them?
It really depends what they're after. I'd say try and get some individuality into it. Don't try and look like everyone else. Try and come up with some original ideas. You know, you see all these bands at the moment where you can literally take one member and slot them into another band, and I can't tell them apart. You know. Okay. So yeah, originality. And
could you recommend some bands which you maybe know or see some days from the UK or some other lands?
Oh, don't ask me that question. No, I haven't seen anything really that's really pricked my ears up recently. You know, to be honest, I'm so focused doing, you know, working with the bands I'm working with and doing Hell, that I don't really spend much time looking at what's going on. I'm in my own little bubble at the moment.
Okay. Andy, then thank you for your time.
No problem.
We're looking forward for the show. Yeah. You start really early. Yeah. But I think it's going to be hell.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, yeah, it will be. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.